Mr. Speaker, my question is for the Minister of Energy. I'm going to put forward a pretty simple question. It doesn't require spin, it doesn't require fluff, it doesn't require historical context. There'll be no need to blame people from 20 years ago or say your dog ate your homework. What I want to know directly to the Minister of Energy is exactly what was the net financial loss incurred by the Liberal government when exporting power over the last 2 years.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So the exact number is $236 million in benefits, Mr. Speaker, as estimated by the experts in the Independent Electricity System Operator, Mr. Speaker. And these benefits translate into reduced costs for the ratepayers, Mr. Speaker, something that we as a government see as so important. That's why we brought forward the Fair Hydro Plan and reduced rates by 25%, something that they voted against, Mr. Speaker. What ago since 2013, the net benefit of our exports has been over $1 billion in savings to Ontario ratepayers, Mr. Speaker. Now, if we want to go, in fact, to when they had their history and their talks about what they did in the sector, they were actually spending $7 million in electricity in one day just to keep the air conditioners going, Mr. Speaker. They were complaining about having to import. We now export and make money, Mr. Speaker.
Each side has had their chance to heckle. It's now stopping. The message has been sent clearly. Supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, again to the Minister of Energy. The Minister of Energy just said they make money on exports, and unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, facts still matter in Ontario, and the Minister of Energy's response is absurd and factually incorrect. The Ontario Society of Professional Engineers laid it all out, and it was reported in the Financial Post. The report showed, I will quote, Mr. Speaker, the cheap exports of surplus nuclear, solar, wind and hydropower could have cost Ontario as much as $1.25 billion over 21 months. So the facts are in the Financial Post, $1.25 billion squandered by this Liberal government, lost to Michigan, New York, and all across the northern United States. So, Mr. Speaker, we don't need fake spin. Facts do matter. And will the Minister of Energy stand in the House and say that the Financial Post is wrong, the engineers are wrong? No one believes this government's fake spin. Come clean, tell us the truth.
Be seated, please. Be seated, please. In fact, while the question was being put, I've heard more noise from this side than I heard from the other side. So, we are in warnings. And I'll be quick to come up. Minister of Energy.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and he is right. Facts do matter in Ontario, and that's why we bring forward facts each and every day, while they're the party that talks about spin when they have no policy and no idea on what to do in this sector, Mr. Speaker. The experts in this sector are the Independent Electricity System Operator, the people that run our system day in and day out, Mr. Speaker. And I take their advice and I listen to what they have to say very carefully. And what the IESO says, Mr. Speaker, and maybe they should listen, is that we have made $236 million.
The member from Leeds Grenville is warned. Carry on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We made $236 million last year. We made $238 million the year before, and we made more than that the year before that, Mr. Speaker. You want to go back all the way into history? Let's go back to 2002 and 2003, when Ontario paid $900 million to import electricity because they let the system go. They let it get tatters.
Thank you. Final supplementary.
Mr. Speaker, again to the Minister of Energy, it's almost comedy hour hearing the Minister of Energy saying they rebuilt energy. This government
Minister of Energy is warned. Finish.
Speaker, the Minister of Energy being proud of his record on hydro, they've tripled rates since 2003, and they're proud of it. They've allowed a situation to occur where we're subsidizing businesses in Michigan, Pennsylvania, the northern United States. You're charging Ontario families to subsidize our competitors. And facts matter, Mr. Speaker, so I will repeat my question to the Minister of Energy. Are you saying that the Financial Post and the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers are wrong when they say you blew over $1 billion?
Stop the clock. Minister of Municipal Affairs is warned. I'm almost tempted to do something that I never thought I would think I'd have to do and offer a blanket warning to everybody. That's unheard of. But I will if I have to. Finish, please.
Mr. Speaker, I can understand why the government's getting testy about their own record of blowing $1 billion, but I just want the Minister of Energy to come clean, to tell the House the truth. Is the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers, is the Financial Post correct when they say this government blew $1 billion?
Thank you. You seated, please. You seated, please. Minister.
Mr. Speaker, so when we look at the experts, the independent electricity system operator who runs our system, who knows the day in and day out needs of our entire system, our entire province, Mr. Speaker, they have said since 2013 we have seen $1 billion in savings. And of course I'm very proud of the record of this government and what we've done with the electricity sector, Mr. Speaker. We've rebuilt the system that they left in tatters. $70 billion to actually fix the system, Mr. Speaker. Let's start looking at it. Eliminating coal, making sure that individuals like Matthew, a 10-year-old boy who hasn't had to go to the hospital for a year and a half because the air is clean, that's something I know everyone on this side of the House.
You seated, please. You seated, please. Member from Oxford is warned. Carry on.
So I will continue to work for people like Matthew and for other children in this province who need clean air to breathe, unlike that party who vote against everything that we do to make this province better for people like Matthew, for seniors, for adults, for children. We make sure that we look after the people of our province, unlike that party, Mr. Speaker.